After Laurie's disappearance, I didn't date for years. I finally got married in 2003. My wife left in 2009. Even though I've been alone since 2009, a big part of me feels like I've been alone since 1992. To this day, 26 years later, Laurie's disappearance still affects me because I've had no closure whatsoever.
Well, Mark says his life would have turned out so differently if his girlfriend Laurie didn't vanish 26 years ago. She was just 20 years old when she drove to Mark's apartment on an August night, but she never made it to his door. She made it to the parking lot because they heard the car pull in. All that remained was a drink on top of her car. The police have been searching for answers to this mystery, but Laurie's mother, Mary, well, she just wants them to do more.
When Laurie went missing in 1992, she was considered a runaway. So that, to me, deterred the investigation for a full 3 days. The active search for Laurie went on for almost a year because there were constantly calls coming in because we had a search center. Then the Department of Justice started to help investigate, and they found nothing. Finally, in 2010, a man named Larry Hall confessed.
Larry Dwayne Hall confessed to her murder while he was already serving time in prison. He said Depies was buried in south central Wisconsin, but that was never proven, and investigators couldn't find any physical evidence to tie him to the disappearance.
I had a hard time believing Larry was a suspect only because there was no screams, there was no yelling. The people waiting for her in the apartment heard nothing. I would like to see the case reopened, have the facts looked at again, people talked to again. I really believe that Laurie was abducted by someone that she knew, and we have to find that person.
Well, so Mary, thank you for being here, and as I said to Mark, I'm very sorry for your loss. We don't know what's happened,
right,
but we know she's gone from your life, so
That's
I'm very sorry for that. What do you think happened to Laurie?
I guess my gut reaction is that somebody she knew met her in the parking lot, in the parking lot of your apartment, and just took her away. That's all I can think of. I really don't know. She was a very friendly person. She didn't like to cause problems, and so if someone were to talk to her and convince her, you know, to come take a ride or something, she would have done it.
Now, you've not seen Mark for 7 years, right? You two have not stayed in contact? No.
When Laurie and Mark were going together, we never really had a ongoing relationship. Laurie and Mark spent more time with Laurie's father than they did with me and my husband, so I never really got to know Mark.
When she first disappeared, did you think Mark had something to do with it?
No. I mean, he was in the apartment waiting for her. How could he, unless he had a mastermind plan that, you know, but I can't imagine why somebody that, you know, was in a relationship would do that. That's
right. There was a time when you were frustrated and pointed a finger at him and said you didn't protect her, you failed to protect her.
You might not remember, but you said this is all your fault, and you did.
I did?
Yeah, in my apartment, you put your finger in my face and said this is all your fault, you should have done something. So,
well, I don't really remember that. Actually, during that time period, I was not myself. I was just totally numb.
Well, I'm 100% understand. A parent has a child go missing. I think you're permitted some latitude of shock and dismay. You're going to find somebody else to criticize you about that, because you'd have to take me to the dump. I just can't even imagine what you went through. That's one thing you won't hear me say is I know how you felt.